DeMaurice Smith is the executive director of the NFL Players Association. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So what did you think of that report we just ran about Northwestern?
Well, look, first, my hat's off to the players at Northwestern and indeed their quarterback, Kane Coulter. I'm not sure that I've met a young man who is as brave and has the vision of a player like Kane Coulter.
So are we moving to college players, moving to the point where college players get paid?
You know, I don't know. I think that whether that happens or not, the real critical question is what's the best way for college athletes to protect their rights? And that's always going to be through collective action. So whether it's the sleeping car porters from years ago, whether it's the women's movement in order to attain the right to vote, you can only do that if you can collectively come together to protect your rights.
Do you think they make a good case?
I think they make a great case. I mean, look at the three major issues to me in college sports. One, you can play a college sport and leave with injuries that aren't covered by any sort of insurance. You can get 4-year renewable scholarships. But also, like these players, some of them live below the poverty line, even though the sport that they're playing in makes their college millions and millions of dollars.
Let's turn now to the NFL, because we just had this ruling by a judge that rejected this preliminary concussion settlement between the players and the NFL. What about that, and what does that mean for the future? Are you going to seek more money for players?
Well, the NFL Players Association didn't have anything to do with the lawsuit. I've read the papers, and from my background of being a litigator, I do understand the judge's questions about whether or not the fund actually contains enough money to pay out for the injuries.
Well, the number is $764 million. What is an adequate number if you don't think that that's a good number?
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer. I think it's going to depend.
You have some ideas, DeMaurice.
I do.
Well, let's hear your ideas.
You know, we ask tough questions here at the table, and Gail just asked one.
No one told me that when I came on this morning.
But what do you think
is a fair
number?
Look, I think the real question is based on an actuarial table of the number of players who are potentially injured, the scope of the injuries that they could suffer. That's how you come up with the right amount. And I think the judge is asking hard questions to make sure that that amount is properly funded to compensate the victims.
Should the NFL re-examine its marijuana policy?
Well, look, you know, what we have done over the last 5 years since I've had this job is constantly look at ways in which we can keep our players safe and treat them and help them in their health conditions. We have made decisions on concussions and sideline concussion experts. We're willing to take a look at medical marijuana if there is proof that it could help some of our players. I think that's something that we should explore.
Do you believe that Commissioner Goodell and the owners have done everything they can do and should do beyond the settlement on concussions?
I'm the head of the Players Union, and my job is to never be satisfied about where we are with the issue of players' health. So there will not be a day where I will say that either the National Football League or the owners
are they genuine in their interest to try to really do something, and because of their concern about players?
I think the question that we ask ourselves is, are there things that we can do to keep our players safer? And the answer is yes. Are there things that we could do tomorrow that we're not doing today? Yes. Our players are still fighting each and every day for workers' compensation. We need to move to a world where if our players are hurt, they get treated.
Commissioner Goodell was here and said his main concern is players' health and safety.
And I believe him, but that also means that each and every day when our players have to file a lawsuit for workers' compensation, let's try to get to a world where if you get injured playing football, your injuries are taken care of.
Super Bowl is Sunday.
Is Sunday.
It's going to be cold weather. Where are you going to be sitting?
Well, hopefully not in the coldest part of the stadium.
What do you think about playing in cold weather? And what do the players say about playing in cold weather?
Well, again, you ask tough questions. What do I think?
That's not tough. That's not tough.
Well, the day that they make me commissioner, that's going to be a long, cold day, by the way. I like warm weather climates. But, you know, I also know that our players on Super Bowl Sunday are thinking about one thing. Yeah, they want to play the game.
Yes.
Winning.
Winning.
Winning isn't the only thing.
Wow. Here we go. And here we go.
Thank you, DeMaurice Smith. Thank you. Really good to see you.
Thank you.